Clarus, yes, Oga, what are you do? Hey, Oga, it is swearing now. You are. When I was talking it that head that does not correction you, you are thinking it that I am does not know what I am talking about. Look at it now. I was asking you to be swearing, but you are beginning to prayer. Mbo, my people, what other evidence are you required to be know it that Clarus Mboji Kwe mad, or he has become the victim of mental catastrophe and malandios? Oga to fiakwa.
Hi, and welcome to the Everything Voiceover podcast. I'm Tcode, an African voiceover talent from Nigeria, and this is my podcast, where I take on voiceover topics from an African perspective. In this episode, my guest today is Nigerian voiceover artist, producer, coach, and the founder of the Voiceover Workshop and Media, Emmanuel Afemikhe. He shares with me the backstory of how he was able to make his mark in the industry. Sit back and enjoy this episode. Hi everybody, welcome to another interesting episode of Everything Voiceovers, the African Perspective. It's me again, your host, Tcode, and I'm here to have an interesting conversation with one of Africa's finest voice talents. Now, today joining me is a very popular Nigerian voice actor with over 10 years of experience in the business of voicing, production, voiceover directing, and he's a creative director. He has his own creative brand. He's the founder of the Voiceover Workshop, a first-rate leading institute for voiceover artistry, production, outsourcing, and voiceover project management. He's also the founder of the Voiceover Conference and the Nigerian Voice Acting Contest. Ladies and gentlemen, you know what I'm talking about if you're in Nigeria and you're doing voiceovers. But if not, I present to you the great King Emmanuel Afemikhe.
Tcode.
Yes, boss. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to have you here. You don't know what it means to me. For those who don't know, I have very few mentors in the voiceover business. You know, I have people I look up to, but people that I relate with one-on-one, very few. And Kingi happens to be one of them, if not my first mentor in the voiceover business. So Kingi, I'm so happy to have you on this podcast. And I can assure you this won't be the only time.
Right. I'm proud of what you're doing, and you're doing amazing. Thank you so much for giving your talents to this industry. I think it's a good one. Well done.
You're welcome. And another backstory that people listening to this, because myself and Kingi, we have a relationship beyond just voiceovers, but it started way back since like 2 years ago or so when I attended the voiceover workshop. I also wanted to put on record that the Nigerian Voice Acting Contest, which was organized by King E. It was a platform that he put together, was what gave birth to me winning that contest, and that has also shoot up my voice acting career a great deal. And I had to put that on record and also say a very big thank you to King E for that genius idea. It's a great thing, and it's moving our industry forward.
Yes.
So King E, you're doing a lot. So we want to know you. I want to know who King E is. Let me start from the nickname. Because when I knew you, you were just Mr. Emmanuel or Amazon. Yes, I heard them call you Amazon a lot. So tell us, who was Amazon, and how did he become King E? Give us that evolution story.
Okay. Thank you so much again for inviting me. So the name Amazon was a name that I was known for as a gospel rap artist for a very long time. You know, I started doing music sometime in 2005, 2006, you know, and the name Amazon was what I used for a while until I took a break from music. I think some 6 years or 7 years ago or so, like that. And then, but after that, I think I got married, right? So a lot of people knew me as Amazon, right? And then I got married, and my wife started calling me King, right? And I kind of liked the tone, you know. So I had to change my name to King E. as against Emizone or just Emmanuel, because to a very large
Wow.
extent, I just felt it stood out. There are a lot of Emmanuels out there, but King
Mm-hmm.
E Afemikhe actually stands out. So that's that's like the short
I'm also an Emmanuel too.
transition.
Yeah,
you know,
I understand. And
yeah.
we hold the credits to your beautiful wife. What a name! I never thought in my wildest imagination that was where the name came from. You see what
Yeah,
marriage can do.
that was what transmogrified into. So it felt like it was a growth thing for me. It was a next level thing. So the
Wow.
name is not just ordinary. It's like it launched me into another stage or another level of my
Mm,
life, Kingi.
mm.
So yeah, yeah.
And speaking about names are significant here in Africa, in Nigeria. We don't just
Mm-hmm,
name people just anyhow.
mm-hmm,
And it has been on my mind to incorporate this into this podcast where, because I'll be interviewing people from different countries in Africa, and I want to also respect their names.
right.
One of the things that we've realized is that the way we pronounce people name, when you pronounce somebody from another culture, when you pronounce their name, it's good for you to pronounce it properly. If not, it will have another meaning, right? So
Mm-hmm,
part of understanding how to pronounce the name is to understand what the name means. So
mm.
your name is Emmanuel
So
Afemikhe.
my full name is Emmanuel Macaulay Afemikhe. It's called
Mm.
Afemikhe. It's my tribe is very interesting. So yeah, there's
And
a
what
lot
tribe
of.
is that?
I'm from Edo State. I'm from Okwila in Edo State.
Hmm.
Etsako East local government. Yes, so it's called Afemikhe. So the the fa there
Mm.
is not exactly a fa sound. It's like a
Mm.
something like that, when it
Afemikhe.
comes to, and then Afemikhe, so it's K, the KH is pronounced as he instead of ke, like some people will say. So it's he,
Mm.
understand? So you
Mm.
so it's Afemikhe, that's
Afemi.
the
Afemikhe.
Afemikhe. Exactly.
Apologies.
That's
I'll
it.
get it.
That's it. Yeah, yeah, you're
Oh, I did.
getting there.
I did. Afemikhe. Oh, okay.
Afemikhe, yes, that's it.
Yeah. And what does it mean?
It means I am protective of my home, or I am guarding my home.
Mm.
It's like old
Wow.
school kind of name. I don't know, something like
I
that.
know, but that's awesome, and I see that reflective in you because I know you. You know.
Yeah.
All right, so tell us what growing up was like. I'm aware you
Mm,
didn't grow up in Lagos, but then
yeah.
what was the experience? Because
Mm,
your background didn't seem like you would have thought in your wildest imagination that you'd be doing what you're doing right now. So what was growing up like for
yeah,
you?
absolutely. Growing up for me, yeah, I would say it wasn't fun and it was fun at the same time. It wasn't fun because really there was really nothing fun, but it was fun because I grew up in a home where we didn't have much, but there was a lot of love.
Mm.
Especially my dad was a man that I can't say up to today how he was able to have the kind of love and joy and laughter that he had, even with the way things were going. But then, of course, I went to Mekunkole Military Primary School in Mina,
Mm.
Niger State. That was where I did my primary education. It was a military and an army children's school. And then from there, after that time, I think my dad retired from the army.
Mm.
Moved to Abuja, did a bit of did some level of education as well, because I was done with primary school, so I wasted some time at home. And when we went to now relocated to Abuja, I had to do some form of primary school again because my common entrance back then,
Mm.
I think it was already expired, or there was something around it's not being valid anymore, and then of course money to
Yeah.
put me into a new school immediately and stuff like that. So I had to do my primary school at what's the name of the school now? It's somewhere Jiwa. It's at the outskirts of Abuja. Anyways, did my primary school again, and then got into government secondary school Jiwa. For people who are in Abuja, will probably know there. And then did like just from JSS1 to JSS3, and then I used to say that I was sent to my village. So I was exported to my village for the first time to go complete my secondary school. And after that, when I was done, I had to go back to Abuja to meet my parents, did a bit of some computer learning and schooling. And then I came to Lagos, and the hustle continued. So growing up was okay. It wasn't, I mean, I used to go to farm with my parents during the weekends. And then when I returned from school back in primary school, I'll have to go hawk, like sell something all the way. I hated it. I always cried, you know. Yeah. So it wasn't really pretty. You understand? Yeah. But taught me a whole lot. And here today, grateful for the family I came out of. It's a very peaceful, very, very peaceful family. No pressure, no interference into your life. They support as much as they can. So it's been good.
Wow. That boy that used to go to the farm with his parents and hawk on weekends is now the man that is a king in the industry. It's an inspiring story. So you moved to Lagos, and I want to believe, okay, before you moved to Lagos, what was your impression about voiceovers? You probably didn't even know it was voiceovers, but what were the influences that you had?
Well, the truth is, when I was in Abuja, I was part of a theater club called Brainchild Theater. And I did a lot of stage acting there back then, you know. And then, but I didn't know anything called voiceovers, actually. You know, I came to Lagos because, and one of the reasons I met Wole Adesonya, who's a producer. He was my producer and a brother to me right now. You know, I was always around the studio basically because I was doing music, rap music and all that. And I had recorded some songs back in Abuja. And when I came to Lagos, I was now introduced to Wole Adesonya by Pastor Solomon Balogun, who is my like an elder brother who brought me to Lagos, you know. And then we became friends, Wole and I was always in the studio. So before long, I started learning a few things around audio engineering and production and stuff like that, you know. But he was the one that was now telling me about voiceovers because he felt, oh, you speak very well. Why not try your hands on this thing? So at intervals when we have some gigs, he would want me to try my voice on it, you know. And some friends would come around and say, oh, please come and just help me record this small line, you know, and stuff like that. So that was when I started. But then I realized that I've been doing voice acting work for a long time. I just didn't know that there was something called voiceovers. And because of that voice acting background, you know, stage acting and stuff, it made it easy for me to interpret characters and all that, you know. And you know that back in the days, I was listening a lot to the New Masquerade, Chief Zebediah and the likes. And it made me love voice work and all that, you know. So yeah, that's the.
Give us a context for those that don't know the Chief Zebediah that you just referenced. What was that about?
It was a comedy. It was a comedy radio and television broadcast. Is it broadcast? No, show or sitcom, something like that, right? It's at that time in the 90s. I think it started in the 80s into the 90s and stuff like that, you know. Maybe I was pretty young back then, but my dad had this cassette that we always played it. Chief Zebediah, that is Chika Okpala right now. He's still very much alive, and a few other guys, Blingori, Clarus, Ovoloria. There are a couple of them. So it was a comedy. It was basically, you know, English, but then the English were not like very great English, right? So you hear something like Clarus. Chief Clarus Mbojikwe of Tolulope. In fact, I'm trying to do some content around it so that some people can just get insight into it. And the guy go, Oga, Clarus, yes, Oga. Are you sure that header corrects you? Yes, Oga, I sure. Can you swearing that header good you? Yes, Oga, I go swearing. Ngwanu, go ahead to be swearing the swear so that I can be know that you are mean it properly that header good you. Yes, Oga. Ngwanu, go ahead. Oh, Chineke mlai. Okay, no league, we are not club. Kelem goodie. Anyways, because I don't speak Igbo, I don't really understand what he was saying there. That's the Jehovah. No, kula ha Jesus. No, kula ha Jesus. Klingori, yes, Oga. Clarus, yes, Oga. What are you do? Oga, it is swearing now. You are. When I was talking is that head that does not correction you, you are thinking is that I does not know what I am talking about. Look at it now. I was asking you to be swearing, but you are beginning to prayer. Umbo, my people, what other evidence are you required to be know is that Clarus Umboji Kwe mad, or he has become the victim of mental catastrophe and malandios. Oga Tufiakwa. Clarus, yes, Oga. Why are you Tufiaring the Tufiakwa? Oga, they Tufiakwa because how small boy like me go get malandios? Oga, that one fits be the sickness of big man, oh. But you are acting big man. Are you are not? You are. So therefore, you must suffer the sickness of big man. Leprous, tuberculosis, hepatitis, epileptical, tombola, ammonia, etc., etc., etc. Oga, to God in heaven, look my tongue for up. I not be acting big man again. Oga, I swear, I not be acting big man again.
No way! Damn! You just gave us a show. Like, you just gave us a full episode. I couldn't close my mouth. Like, no, we should do. There should be another audio version. Like, oh my God, you must have really eaten you must have consumed that content a lot as a kid.
Yeah,
and this is not the first time.
It's been a long time. I've forgotten a couple of lines, but I still have maybe 2 or 3 episodes all in my head that I can.
All in your head. All in your head. I mean, this is not the first time, for the record. This is not the first time I'll hear you do it. This is probably like the 4th or the 5th time. But every time you do this act, I'm always amazed, like blown off. So, wow, that's such a talent. I see how you are able to really blend because you had that whole acting in you from those influences. That's really awesome. And fantastic that you moved to Lagos. Can you remember the first voiceover you ever produced?
I can't remember the first because really to a very large extent. I think the first one that I was paid for, I can remember that one. I can't remember that. That's something for Multi-Shield. It's a health insurance or something like that company. I think that was the first job I was paid 100,000 naira. Recorded and produced that. That was in maybe 2010 or 2011.
Wait, let's take this one step at a time. You were paid 100,000 naira in around 2010, 2011 for your first. Yes. That's the first payment you get for a job.
Yes. That's the first one I can recall. Other ones would probably be maybe like 5K something to just take this recharge card money, but I didn't really pay so much attention to that. I think what broke it for me was that particular gig, and that was where I started taking notes of the gigs that I was doing and felt like, okay, I was fully into voiceovers now and stuff like that.
So before that time, it was just because you were always around the studio, you voiced
exactly.
But at that period, that was what said, no, I have to take this serious, I believe.
You get it. Exactly.
All right. You've been in music and you moved to Lagos. You still you continued music, and then voiceovers came. Which came first? Because I know you produce music as well. So which came first?
Music was what brought me to Lagos. But even while I was doing music, I was doing stage acting, like I said, but music was one of the drives. At that time, that was all I felt I wanted to do. Right? I didn't want to do any other thing, to be honest. you know. Yes, so I came to Lagos. Of course, I had to hustle and all that. At some point, I had to get into the university. Got an admission into the University of Lagos, Unilag, and I had to sponsor myself and all that through school and whatnot. So yeah, music came first, but music never left. It's still there. We're still doing music.
Yeah.
I still recorded a new single recently called "Good to Me." So music is still there. It's just that voiceover had to come forward because I wanted to push it, and it was giving me the vibe and relevance, and then the money as well. And then because in fact that period was because my education was pretty slow. I had a lot of delays, with education and all that, and it was around 2010, 2011 that I finally got admission into the university actually, But before then I was already doing, learning production, continued my music and stuff like that, so that voiceover, that gig I got was what paid my first school fees and sorted out a few things, which was what led to me studying voiceover workshop.
This is inspiring. I wanted to get an idea of maybe you learned how to produce before you.
Yes. No. I was, because I was always around the studio. I started learning production. I actually produced a couple of songs, even for several talents. There was one I did for Bayo Adeshui that featured Chidinma Ekile and Emizone back then. It was a good song. There's a video for the song on YouTube even, so I was producing songs. I was doing studio engineering normally before I started. So the thing is, some of these things were going hand in hand. So whilst I was learning, I was doing music, I was learning production, I was learning engineering, and then voiceover came. I was still doing everything and going, I started doing even branding and design around it within the period. So as I was going, I was learning some of these things and just taking them along the way and improving on myself and getting better and stuff like that. Yeah.
You're such a talented person. I also know that you do graphic designs. If we start counting the things that you do, it's a whole lot. Your CV must be very bulky. Before we get into the training institution that you created, I'm curious to know what your creative process is like when it comes to voiceovers. What happens behind the scene? We hear what you have produced, but behind that production, there was a lot of process from getting the gig to the negotiations to, voicing to product. What is your own creative process like?
Okay, so I think for me, over the years I have failed a lot, right? And because of that, I've learned a lot as well. So my creative process really is experimentation. Let me put it that way. Yes, I know a few things. I've been in the creative space for some time. I've worked with, I've worked closely to some renowned music talents. I've worked closely with some very fantastic producers. I've worked closely with a lot of brands people and creative guys. So to a very large extent, I have like some life experiences that help my creative process. And when it comes to voiceovers, first of all, I have mastered the art of voiceovers, even though I'm still improving. Okay. When it comes to recording, I have the know-how. I have the know-how to do or to produce a voiceover. Okay. And then because of the combination of the things I know, it's easy. I think sometimes it might be for me to come off as creative, even if I am not necessarily going overboard because of the skills that I know. I don't think creativity is something that is mystical or somewhere. It's a combination of experiences, the things you have seen, the things you have read, and your imagination and stuff like that. And really, that's what works for me. And sometimes I just like to also deliver excellence. I try. And it's a continuous process. I think even creativity is a continuous process. It's something that you constantly improve upon. It is not what you already have. But if you have certain skills, someone might look at you as creative because they don't have the skills or they don't know how to, apply themselves to doing those things. Do you understand? All right. So my creative process really, when I get jobs, usually talk to clients or negotiate and all that is concluded, I'm given the script. And as a professional voiceover actor, I want to understand the script first. Right. I think that's where the creative process starts, that brainstorming period where you are looking at and trying to put the right emotions, the right character, the right face to what you want to record, or the right tone and emotion. I think that's really generally the creative process. And of course, recording. And then after recording, the production. In the production process, there are several things. There are, how you edit your audio, how the amount of space you give between one word to the other word or one phrase to the other phrase. And then there's the instrumentation and SFX and all of that going on. Your transitions, the beginning, the entrance, the intro, and then, of course, the outro. I'm not talking about words now. I'm talking about the instrumentation and SFX, your intro, the middle, and the outro. Sometimes there can be transitions as well. You might want to change from a calm beat to a little bit of high up tempo. And then how do you transit? How do you do the transition between those two? How smooth is it? Now, your conclusion, how do you conclude? You understand? I try to pay attention to all of those things. At the end of the day, you realize that, okay, it comes off as, oh, this person is creative, or there was a creative process. Yes, there's a creative process, but to me, it's really just me living my life, trying to produce the best outcome as possible for every project. I think there's nothing supernatural about it.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. Wow. It's obvious I'm talking to a producer, not just a voice actor. So, yeah. You told us about your first 100K from Voiceovers, and that was what inspired you to create a Voiceover Institute, which is the Voiceover Workshop and Media. Now, I'm aware that the Institute has been around for a couple of years now.
Just 3 years. 3 years.
Yes, 3 years. 3 years. But I know that you also had some attempts, I remember.
Yes.
There was a failure before the success we're seeing today. So tell us that stage and how you were able to finally birth the Voiceover Workshop.
So after I was in the university, and like I said, the voiceover project was when I was paid for a voiceover project was what paid my first university school fees, and also even helped me go through school and stuff like that. And I felt okay to start training people. I may just be able to help one person out there who needs voiceovers, or who voiceover can help scale to their next level in life, just like me. So at certain points, I decided to I put together a training. Was a 4 Saturdays training. It was for free. Had a couple of people, trained them over 4 weeks on different topics and stuff like that. It was called Speak, And then after that, I think a couple of months later, I put together another edition, and this time it was supposed to be paid for. I think maybe 20K or 25,000 or something like that. I can't remember. But then nobody registered for it. Wow. So when it was getting close, I had to cancel the whole thing, like put out word that the training is not holding again and stuff like that. So I just chilled of course, it wasn't something to take in easily. I just chilled for some time, and then 2019, I decided to start a voiceover workshop and media, and basically just started online. Did a logo, put it online. I was just putting out tips for voiceovers. For after some time, nobody would like it to just be there. I'll just put another day, continued like that for a while, and then we started training. And we are here today. It's been good.
Wow. Awesome.
Yeah.
Like, there's always a story behind the glory. And I'm happy to learn from all of this that you're sharing with us. Let's talk about the Institute. You've been running it for about 3 years. What has been your biggest challenge running a voiceover institute in Nigeria?
Well, Nigeria is a very interesting country. I think one of the biggest challenges was at some point to get students to even enroll. Right, because a lot of people, they don't know about voiceovers. The industry is gradually opening up. People are getting more interested in voiceover work right now. Younger people are getting to know more about voiceovers. It wasn't like that time. People were interested, but financial constraints sometimes as well, and them even knowing what they can get out of it. And then because the industry is still opening up, some people want to know, how do we get jobs and all that beforehand, But usually I would say you can't know what's going on inside a university until you go through the university, right? So if you're outside the voiceover space, you can't know for real what you can achieve just being outside. So I think basically that was some of the major challenges we had. I mean, we still have them once in a while, every now and then. But so far, it's been a tremendous joy, for me, seeing how many people we've trained, how many people are doing so much, how many people are touched, and the impact of just even some that are not using it yet. They are excited that they have this knowledge and stuff like that. And for me, I think we're doing the reason, because like sometimes even when I want to forget, I remember why I started. Why the reason I started was to help people and to help someone out there to be better. So I try as much as I can to call myself back and say, okay, this is not just about me. This is about more than me. So yeah.
That's really nice. And for those who don't know, I'll say it again. I was a student of the voiceover workshop, and that platform has really helped my voiceover career, because I remember not knowing so much about the industry, and I saw the voiceover workshop. I registered, I trained, I met some fascinating coaches, some of the best hands in Nigeria in voiceovers, and my career changed, and I'm happy to also be a part of the workshop, not just as a student, but as a coach. So the impact.
A coach and an executive. An executive member,
That's how we roll. Thank you for the privilege, King E. Now, you've been impacting life in several ways. That includes the voiceover workshop. Another thing that you've done that I would say you've done this and it has helped the industry in recent times is the voiceover conference. I don't think before that platform was established or created by you, I don't think we had a voiceover conference in Nigeria. And we've done 3 editions of the voiceover conference, and it has been, success upon success. I know it wasn't as rosy as it sounds at the beginning. But give us the backstory as well. Let's also know what happened. What was your thought process like? Why you created the voiceover conference? And
so voiceovers for me, for the longest time, right? I was always wondering why voiceover talents were very silent, right? If you go check, you realize that a lot of guys who are springing up online right now as voiceover content producers, or they were not like that 3-4 years ago,
Mm.
right? And for me, it was always, why are voiceover talents silent this much about what they do? And I think one of the reasons back in the days was because voiceover talents were not uh, guys who were supposed to be known because of the nature of their jobs. They're just supposed to be like hidden voices that nobody knows, which is drastically changing right now. But back in the days, that was what it was, right? And I think that was one of the reasons. Because for me, it was always, okay, if you can make 5,000 naira from something you sell, it simply means if you position yourself properly, you can make 500,000. That's what it means. So why is it that voiceover talents don't want to make more money than just keeping quiet and stuff like that? Of course, we know that the industry was also, before now, was really driven by agencies. So for you to get any gig or any jobs, you have to go through the agencies and all that. Yeah, that is still very valid, but it's not the only way anymore. And social media and all that is also changing the narrative. People are knowing more voiceover talents. And I just also felt that there was need for realizing that a lot of people didn't talk about what they did a lot. And then I also realized that lots of people don't know what voiceovers are. And because of that, the industry is slow. The industry is not really that known. There's no value placed on. We felt we should do something. We should start creating platforms that will bring voiceovers to the limelight, And that was what birthed the Voiceover Conference, a conference that can bring, giants in the industry, can bring creative entrepreneurs, people in the advertising agencies and creative thinkers to a place where we can talk about how to grow our craft and also gain relevance, because it is the way we treat ourselves that other people will treat us. And the truth is that, take music, for instance, in Africa, or let's bring it home now to Nigeria. There was a time that Nigerian songs were not regarded as anything. They were on the background. They were played, as favors. And, talents or music artists will have to pay presenters huge sums to play their songs or drop the songs, and they will never be played because foreign songs were the ones, on our radio stations and stuff like that. But then at certain point, I said it changed. Right now, it's rare that you hear a foreign song in a Nigerian radio station because there's now relevance. And by that happening, the talents, the musicians are recognized right now, even globally, but they're from Nigeria. And in Nigeria, they're also recognized. What we do is it's acting. Yes, your face might not be there, but it is also voice acting. It is something that is relevant, as good as, acting a movie and all of that. And because the industry is not big, we don't even know that we can do a whole lot more, right? Conferences like this, the Nigerian Voice Acting Contest, the Voiceover Conference, these are events that can open up the industry and put more value into the industry and more value into the craft and the individuals who do the craft. And trust me, it gives you recognition. It brings sales. It opens up the industry, creates employment for a lot of young Nigerians, and it's a whole lot. And that's the essence. That's why we're doing what we're doing. It's not like right now it's giving us any profit, but we know what we're doing. And from the last conference that happened, it was clear that what we were doing was something, and there was something here. And even the voiceover talents were happy that we now have our conference as voiceover actors. Do you know what that means? The next thing that we need to do now is to see how we can push it into the media space. So everyone that wants to collaborate with us is welcome. Come on board and let's push this. And this is not a small industry. So yes,
I can attest to the fact that the last conference we held was a success, or is a success. I remember people coming from all across Nigeria, I think someone came from the east. We had
Yes, we had people from Abuja, Benin,
Benin. I came
Akure,
from
people like
Akure. And with
there are a couple
conversion,
of other.
and you see, it was beautiful because we had not just the top dogs, the highest paid voice actors, those that have been there for years, even the Association of Voiceover Actors in
The
Nigeria.
voice
They were
was fully represented.
yeah, fully represented, and we had some very interesting conversations about the industry. So
Absolutely.
I want to say very big kudos to that. Kudos to the team. I was a part of it though, but yeah,
Yes,
kudos to everyone.
yes. Kudos to the team, Nike and co. Yeah,
Shout outs to
amazing
Nike.
guys. Yeah, amazing guys.
Yeah,
Not just me. There a whole lot of people working on the background and doing amazing work. So
amazing.
it's yeah.
Let's flip to another thing that you've done that changed my life for good.
Guest producer, celebrity.
Thank you very much. And you're the godfather of the celebrity, if I would put that in the right context. That's the Nigerian voice acting contest. Yeah, the Nigerian voice acting contest. Now, again, there has never been anything like that in the past. In fact, it's safe to say that you're a pioneer of many things, and that's something that it's rare to see. Now, the Nigerian voice acting contest, the first of its kind, it happened last year, the fourth quarter of last year, for about 3 months thereabout, and that produced me being the winner of that contest. I want you to tell us what inspired you to create the contest in the first place, and what was the execution process like? Because it's not easy to do something of that sort.
Okay, to be honest, I think it still just boils down to me trying to impact the industry in Nigeria, the voiceover industry in Nigeria. Some people would look at me and say, "Oh, you're aiming for local." I really don't bother when I hear statements like that, because I believe that for you to be global, you have to have local relevance, and then you can't say you are the world's champion when at home you have not done anything. You can't be projecting the voiceover industry, as a global in a global stage when your own country there's nothing to show for it. You can't say you are for Africa when in Nigeria we are still struggling, and you are from Nigeria and nothing is happening here. Stuff like that. Okay, you can't say, "Oh, I've done so much," but then back at home there's nothing to show for it, right? And that is why we decided to say, look, let's do an idea. Actually, it started from us just doing something called Voice of the Week, which we will start again pretty soon. Voice of the Week was always it was every week we put out a script and people record, and we pick maybe top 3, and then the audience pick who the winner for the week is, and we just celebrate the person. We do IG live sessions and have a bit of chats. It was really fun, and then at some point, big shout out to Yusuf Yahya Kwande. He said, "Oh, for the next so weeks, we'll be giving the winner a particular amount of money, 35K every week was going to the person that won the Voice of the Week." So it exploded and became more fun because something was coming out of it and stuff like that. And by that, some people even registered for our courses because they didn't have money, and with that they won and then had to register. And some people could do some things for themselves, and it was interesting because I think it was that period after that we started the voiceover conference, I think, but I think it was COVID-19 period and stuff like that. So it helped a lot of young people and stuff like that. So Nigerian Voice Acting Contest was also just the need to expand the voiceover industry in Nigeria to impact the young Nigerians and help them become better, and also help them to look forward to something that keeps them engaged throughout a couple of weeks, and also make them better. Everyone especially the 22 people, or let's say the 14 people who, got neck deep into the contest and went on some serious trainings. And big shout out to all the judges, Eric Ekweme, Tomabi, Isheun Ajayi, Oluwaseun Olusegun. They drilled. Tcode can attest to that. Tcode, are you
such
there?
An experience. I'm here. I'm with you. It was such an experience, an amazing experience.
Okay.
I must say.
So it's really all about the need to better the industry. And the process was, it wasn't easy, but then I would also give it to the judges. It was, we didn't expect a lot of things that happened and how it turned out at the end of the day. It was fun. It was serious drilling. It was even the contestants, they felt every bit of the heat and all that. So it was good. 6 weeks of it was 6 weeks, yes, of judging young Nigerians who are voiceover talents, giving them tips, helping them grow, showing them the ropes. It was good. We're looking forward to another one this year, and everyone can come on board. It's really good. We're looking forward to it.
Awesome. Fantastic. And it's a good thing that you said. I'm happy to hear that the voiceover challenge is coming back. Probably by the time this episode drops, it's on, or maybe just a few weeks to its launching. So I can't wait for that. I can't wait to see that. All right, Kingi, before I let you go, this has been a very interesting conversation. There are a few things I just want to know. Let's talk about your top 3 voiceover genres. What are your top 3? Tell us.
What are my top 3 voiceover genres?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Explainer videos. I love explainer videos to a very large extent. I love animation because I love to do acting. A lot of acting, and of course I have done a major video game animation not too long ago. So animation is a big deal for me, and of course everybody knows commercial English, and then pidgin. I think those are my top 3. I do a lot of documentaries as well, but then top 3, of course.
Fantastic. I also attest to that. You got nominated for the ABVA Awards for, I think, that category where it's is it corporate narration now or explainer videos? I can't remember now, but that just attests to how much you're invested in that and how much you love it. So what do you do for fun if you're not voice acting?
What do I do for fun? I'm not very big on fun. Sometimes I forget that there's something called fun to be real, And sometimes my wife had to remind me, let's go hang out or something like that. I'm not very big on. I think I try to just have fun every day, my every existence. So you probably would see me more laughing or smiling or dancing or rapping or singing. I'm in church dancing. I am taking pictures sometimes. Hanging out with. Sometimes I watch movies as well. Basically. Yeah. But going all out to say, I want to have one mad fun, I'm not very big on it. I'm trying to improve because it's not just about me. Sometimes family is also very important. You have to invest into family as well. So I'm also learning to see how, I can have more fun time with my family. That is not just work or me. But then every day is fun. Waking up and being able to smile, it's fun.
I know. I've worked with you for some time, and I know even work for you is fun. Just being in the studio and producing, recording is all fun for you. That's
Absolutely.
interesting. What are your advice to upcoming voice actors?
The advice is simple. You have to start, right? Like me, when I started, and a lot of people that I know who have done so many things in the industry, you can't know everything you're going to achieve if you don't start. The first thing is to start. If you think that, oh, this is what you want to do and you love it, I think I would suggest, not I think, that you start, enroll for training, get networked or connected with people of like minds, attend webinars, conferences, and just keep growing and doing the best that you can. In a couple of years, you just realize that you're somewhere, you've grown so much and you're probably recognized in the industry, or you've done some amazing jobs and all that. But if you don't start, you can't know. Fear is there, might be there, or you not know, what does the future hold, but you can't change the future if you don't change now. All right. The future starts now. So if you want something to change in the future, if you want to know how the results of something will be in the future, it's best to start now. So start and grow gradually or grow speedily, whichever one comes to you, and trust God for, the best outcomes.
Fantastic. Great advice. Start now and trust God for the best outcome. Grow gradually as well. All right. If there is any other thing you'd like to say before we end this podcast, I know you have a music out there, or you have songs out there, or any other thing you want to promote, something you want to tell us of, something we should anticipate. Now is the best time to do that, Kingi. The platform is all yours.
Well, you said it all. I have a song called God is Good presently out there. You can check on YouTube, my YouTube, subscribe, like, and my social media handle at King Afemikhe on all social media platforms, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. There's LinkedIn as well. There's also Twitter. My name is, you probably will see my picture is also the same across board. And then of course Voiceover workshop, we put trainings every now and then, courses that will help you with some of the finest in the industry in Africa. So do well to check us out as well. And big ups to Tcode for doing this. I mean, I'm excited when I see our people growing and making that moves. As you constantly make moves, you move to different levels. And Tcode, I want to commend your work. This is good and tremendous. And I pray that you will grow from glory to glory, from strength to strength, and God will open up doors and opportunities for you that will blow up your mind, or that will blow your mind up. Or that will blow your...
Amen. I receive. God so for me. If you enjoyed this episode, subscribe, leave a comment, and tell someone about it. Follow the podcast on Everything VOs on all social media platforms. Thanks for listening, and see you on the next episode.